they come to the start-finish line again.
I don't, everybody has to bring up Evel Knievel. And he got famous by crashing a lot. And that, I've said many, many times, I'm not here to crash. I want to do a good show for the public. I'm going to do exactly what I said I was going to do. And I care about my motorcycles way more. And my body, it'll heal, but it takes me a lot of money to pay for my motorcycles.
No, I understand
that.
That's
care of
what
them.
you see that a lot. I mean, anytime you see anything about Evel Knievel, most of the time it's the crashes that made him famous, not the.
Well, look at the guys now. The ones that get all the publicity are the big crashes. Geez, why are we doing this? The guys that do it successful, like Robbie Madison, one of my heroes. I mean, he's amazing.
Yeah, and then, like I said, that's what made Evel Knievel famous was the crashes, and I was reading a deal the other night, and from I think it was 2010 when the Motorcycle Masculinity came out, and it actually ranked you number 2 to Evel Knievel.
Yeah, and that came out before he died, by the way.
Okay.
But so I don't know if I'm still number 2 since he died, because he gets so much publicity even now. But it was a wild list from somebody I don't even have a clue, but the top 10 hot shot or bad riders, or whatever you want to put it. But they listed me as number 2 because of the riding backwards. And so that's kind of neat to know.
Yeah, because there's other people on the list that, there's Ricky Carmichael, Robbie Madison.
He deserves to be there.
All these are on this list that you're on, so that's pretty cool.
So is Debbie Evans and Wolverine. Really? So it's kind of an odd list.
But it's still a list, and it still puts you there, right behind.
As you wanted to talk about, my favorite listing, which is up there with The Show Must Go On, was doing a jump with no engine.
Yeah, that's the one. I've known Bob he's been coming around I've been in this motorcycle shop since 1997, and I think you've been coming. You've been there probably since
long before then.
I was only around since then. So that's when I met Bob, and one story that's always taken since I was younger, and around 99, 2000, I believe you said it was him actually doing a show at the Texas Motor Speedway right around the time that it opened, and he was the headlining show to get the races going that day and everything like that. And he had a jump where you actually jumped with no motor. You had a motor, but the motor decided to blow.
We're shortening this up. I mean, I had used this Honda for 3 years. And they're flawless. They don't break. Well, unfortunately, and I don't just use it for showtime. I've ridden it on the streets. I've raced it. I won a motocross with it. I won a flat track with it. And here I am out doing shows with it. But so anyway, I did all the wheelies, did the riding backwards at Texas Motor Speedway, and then I did my speed runs to make sure I've got the speed, the distance, the ramp set up. And on the way back, to turn around and make the jump, I blew the engine up. And it puked a valve, and I'm panicking because this is Texas Motor Speedway. I want to do something spectacular for them. I didn't have this in mind, but you never know how it's going to turn out. So long story shorter is that I said, get your Pace. They had a Pace Chevrolet truck. They brought it out. I hooked it. My oldest son went and got a tie-down strap. We hooked it on the back left corner of the pickup. He had the window down, and I hold the end of the strap with my right hand because the engine won't run. So I told him where to start from, and I said, you pull me up to this point on the racetrack, and we were going backwards around the track from what it normally runs. So we started in turn 2, come back around turn 1, and I jumped on the infield. And I said, be doing 80 miles an hour when we get here. And so I threw the strap to make sure I don't get tangled up with it, swerved over, and I did 106 feet with no engine whatsoever. And while you're in the air, it's pretty quiet. But
probably opposite of what it normally is.
Oh,
It's
oh, yeah, 'cause
quiet
you-
on the take or loud on the takeoff usually, and quiet in the air.
Yeah.
But it was.
Oh yeah, and Mr. Gossick, Eddie Gossick, manager of Texas Motor Speedway, come over and said, "You did something I thought I'd never see in my life." And I said, "Me too. I never intended to do something like this, but as it worked out, it's the only jump that I know of, ever heard of, done without an engine being pulled." And so another first, and that's why you never heard of me, because there was no crash.
Yeah, and then when I was doing my research last night and looking over some more stuff, like I said, I've heard most of your stories in and out of the shops and stuff
No,
like
you
that.
haven't.
Well, I've
lot of them.
heard some of his stories. I'm sure there's way more than I've ever heard. But just reading some, you've got a lot of deals where you are first at doing a lot of different things. The with the backwards stuff, first backwards wheelie,
First backwards wheelie, yes.
the can jump.
Well, actually, that's a can crunch.
Oh, the can
and,
crunch.
And this is when you see a video, it's much easier to understand, of course. But actually, it was my two sons' job for 4 years on the road when they would come out during when they were off of summer vacation, and people thought I was crazy, and them too. But they would lay down with helmets on the racetrack, and they're 18 inches apart. I put an empty Coca-Cola can or whatever, and I never use beer because I never touch alcohol ever in my life. And so I put this empty can in between them, and I come down the track, depending on the size of the track, anywhere from 40 to 60 miles an hour on the rear wheel while doing a wheelie, and smash the can. The whole point of this is to show the precision of riding. And I paid my kids to do that in a summer job. How many other kids had a summer job like that? But later, I started using volunteers out of the audience. Sometimes it was kind of hard to get volunteers, but most of the time it wasn't.
So I take it. So I take it your sons are both no brain damage or anything from any of this,
Well,
right?
that could be iffy.
but it wasn't from that.
Yeah, yeah,
okay. And then we've seen you on different shows. You were telling us about some movies, some lower movies that you did, as well as some movies that that you've done as stuntman. Also, we saw you got to see you on American Pickers, which was a pretty cool deal. They got to go through the same area that we've gone through, and that was a pretty cool deal to see some of the history.
Well, thank you, because it was a lot of fun with them, and there's some things behind the scene that just make me laugh when you don't answer a question quite the way they want it. But that's okay. We had a good time, and we went out and filmed, riding at Stallman Farms' personal private airport, which was wonderful because I was running out of time to find a place to ride. We got 5 days before they're going to be here. And the lady that called me from American Pickers said, "Where are you going to ride for?" Oh, yeah, of course. "And where are you going to ride at?" No, she said, "Are you going to ride backwards?" Well, of course. And said, "Well, how fast are you going to go?" Well, that depends on where we go to ride. We're just going to go out and pick a dirt road or trail and ride backwards. And she said, "Well, wherever we go, we got to have insurance." And I went, "Oh, no." That just throws a whole big wrench in the fire, because you're not going to do city land, county land, or state land without taking 3 months to a year to get a okay. And I went to Stallman Farms, and I couldn't believe it. She had, in about a matter of 2 hours, she did releases. "Here, sign these, we're good to go." And I went, wow, that doesn't happen, period. And thank God that they were such good friends from way back. I used to ride with one of their boys, and that was a big blessing.
And yeah, it actually made for a pretty good part of the show. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. I think you can still see it on YouTube. I don't know where else you can see it.
It's season 13, episode 20, I believe, on YouTube. And it's not like any other episode they ever did. And they bought a couple of sets of leathers from me. And it was funny because the set that Mike Wolf bought, my very first set of leathers, he pulled them out of the closet, and I was ashamed of them. I didn't know they were in such bad shape. Tears and rips, and I went, wow, they're really bad. And he offered me $500 for them. And inside I'm going, what? And outside I'm going, oh, okay. You know what? For you guys, I'll take 400. Break! Stop! What's the problem? Said you can't go down. You have to go up. Haven't you ever seen the show? So they ended up giving me 500 for them.
So what? And on those leathers, what'd you pay for those leathers? Or they were free leathers? I'm sure.
Oh no. That's when I first started racing.
Okay, when you first started
and
racing.
I saved up a long time to buy them. They were $65 in 1968.
That sounds like a pretty good investment there. Then if you turn 65 into 500, so
I was shocked that they even wanted them. I was wowed, and they were all real nice, and we had a great time.
And one thing, if you live here in Cruces, so you've been around town here, and most of you probably, if you know anything about Bob, you know he loves the color purple. We've seen his house; it's got purple everywhere. And then one thing that's more famous than Bob is his van. And I just remember from being younger, seeing around town, and I remember seeing it had the 250,000 miles, now 500,000 miles. It's got it across the windshield saying how many miles that van has on it. And I assume that van was what you used to travel around to do all your shows and everything like that. How many miles does it have now?
Just 554,000 because I got an 03 pickup that's got 300,000. So I kind of gave the van a little rest.
Gave the van a little rest.
But, I'm on the road all the time, and it's been it's your life. You're traveling, and you can't afford to miss a show.
Mm-hmm. And with that van and everything else, I know you talk about traveling still. And I was talking to you a little bit before we started filming this, and you were saying that you still have a couple more stunts in you, and we're gonna call the one that you want to do I'm gonna call it here is the land speed record backwards.
Yes. Just a matter of finding the right place. I would love that the airport out here. Actually, I'd rather go to the spaceport if there's more room. But I know I can run at least 170 miles an hour.
What's the record right now?
It's hard to find. You really have to look hard to find it. But in the Guinness Book, it's 161. And if I went 122 from a standing start in a quarter mile, come on, 170 backwards, that's a piece of cake. But we got to find a place to do it that will let us. And the spaceport just makes total sense. But
we'll have to get Richard Branson on the phone and let's see if we can get that done.
But as our world turns from way back, used to somebody call me, can you do a show? You bet. In a matter of 2 weeks, I was there. I was doing a show. Nowadays, it takes forever to clear it with the lawyers, unfortunately. And not all of them are bad, but they have slowed me down a lot. But yes, I want to do that. And something else I want to do that, if I don't do something that people think you're nuts, then it's not so exciting. I want to jump the very first time it's ever been done. I want to jump a Honda Gullwing over cars. So who knows? Maybe someday.
Well, Honda did just come out with a new Gullwing, so...
Absolutely. I've ridden the older ones enough to know that, yes, I can do this. Mm-hmm. And it's never been done. Everybody jumps dirt motorcycles.
Yeah.
And so to jump a 900-pound motorcycle would be pretty tricky. And
you've seen this Honda. We're going to have to make this happen for him, okay?
Now, put the CD in, and I guess we'll have to play Born to Be Wild.
Well, we appreciate you coming on with us and explaining this. We're probably going to have to do this. We're going to have to do a second show one of these days with you because I know there's just way more stories than what we could fit in our 15, 20-minute segment that we actually do. And, maybe we can do it another time where we can actually take the whole tour and add the tour to your museum here onto our Facebooks as well, because there is some cool stuff. You've got, models of motorcycles, like thousands of them, it looks like. You've got a magazine room that has,
that's the library.
The library. It has, what is it, Cycle World in there.
All the way back.
But it was the full series from it's all, just the one shelf was 1980, I think, like that. So
they go all the way back to 1964.
And you have every one.
Not necessarily then, because I bought them one at a time then. But later years, after I could afford it, I started getting the subscriptions. And cycle and mini bike and magazines that are not even in publication anymore.
Plus all the T-shirts, everything. It's a very cool. I appreciate you letting us come in and see this, and I know you are open to the public if they want to get a hold of you to touch base with us. I'm sure they can reach out to our Keena, our events coordinator. She can touch base with you if you're on our page, or they can get a hold of you. How? Through email.
I'm in the phone book, email. I mean, it's
okay.
It's not hard to find me. I'm at McDonald's every single morning. And then
which McDonald's they're gonna send the paparazzi over there to you.
Oh yeah, right. But the one on North Main, those folks are great, and I like going there. I have several friends that I see there almost every morning because I'm the youngest, so it makes me look younger.
So at these records, obviously, if you do any of these records, not only will you be the first one to do it, or not the first one to do it, but have the record, but probably one of the oldest ones to do it. Correct?
I appreciate that. No. Finally, being older is turning out.
You're seasoned now because in the mid age they don't really care about some of this stuff.
That's right.
But you do it as a young kid or you do it as an old man. That's when the recognition comes, right?
Any of the jumps I do now, I am considered the oldest performing professional jumper.
Well, that'd be cool. It'd be something we'd love to see, and hopefully we get to see it. I mean,
I'm hoping when they open the new speedway that they're interested because we could do something really spectacular.
I'm supposed to have Mr. Bruce Stone on the show with me here in a couple weeks, so hopefully we can make something happen with that as well.
I like Rue, but bring Royal because he's got the checkbook.
Oh, okay. You hear that, Rue? All right. But like I said, thank you very much for showing us everything today. It's like a walk through history, and I got in the motorcycle business pretty late. I've been in it since '97.
We don't hold that against you.
So I was only 14, so I'm 34 now. So I've been in it for about 20 years, and this is some cool stuff. I'm not gonna lie.
I started riding when I was 8, so not far.
But thank you for coming out. Thank you for joining us. You can find, once again, this is Bob Duffy. You can find, if you have any questions regarding him or would like to speak with him, you can touch base with Keena, our events coordinator, and she can get you in touch with Bob as well. Make sure that you follow us on YouTube. Check out this video. We're going to post this every Thursday, 5 o'clock. And we're going to be doing this week. We have our weekly show. We don't know who we're going to have on next week. We'll plan that for here soon. Hopefully we get that scheduled up here pretty quick. And once again, I'm JR with Motorsports in New Mexico. You can follow me on Instagram at @FullOfPS. And thank you for joining us, and thank you for riding along with us.